Hey everyone, it's Kenlyn, and welcome back to my channel for the Astro and Energy Report for the week of February 9th. And it is a very big week, and I probably don't have to tell you that because you might be understanding now what this Pluto wrecking ball in the Pluto return of the United States is looking like. We're starting to see the picture of what is changing in our world. So this full moon is going to light some very important things that you need to know for yourself in the middle of this cosmic 3D upheaval. So let's just presence a few things. First of all, it's on the menu. It was never not going to be this way. And we have choice. It's a weird paradox that there are certain things that are written and we also get a say inside of it by our consciousness, by our vibration. I think that's important to note, especially when things are happening that feel so out of our control. I mean, I spent part of the weekend just really angry, and I just let myself have it because I knew that I would be riding that wave, and there was no need to pretend that I wasn't angry because my mind was making up scenarios, but also really feeling the empathy of communities that are impacted by this boulder that's smashed into, let's say, a body of water, and the ripple effects are being felt. But some people are closer to that boulder smashing in the water than others. Some of us are out here. And rest assured, we are all going to feel it because we are all one body of water, to keep that analogy going. There's no like separate over here. There's no insulation. We are all going to feel the ripple effect. So let's talk to each other here and listen here as if we are claiming the mantle of being priestesses of a new age, midwifing a new age. I love to draw upon Sarah Drew's book, Gaia Codex, where she talks about priestesses come lifetime after lifetime to midwife the death of one civilization and the birth of another. If we look in history, civilizations, even incredible civilizations like the Atlantean civilization, has come and it has gone. And I like to say that no gains in consciousness are lost. So we're here playing a game in form. We are spirit having a 3D experience. And so this is an opportunity to marry both of them. It's not about spiritual bypassing, and it's definitely not about getting caught up in the intensity to have it take you down. So if that's been you, that's okay. That's a yoga. That yoga is like you on a paddleboard, where the very tiny bones in your feet are working to keep you stable, not even balanced. It's just stable. Stable's enough because we have Uranus in this mix, and Uranus is the Lord of instability, chaos, upheaval, and also great awakenings in a flash. So just remember that we are always in a both and. We live in polarity, and it's always a both and. So I like to presence to myself that what's happening has been written in the stars. It's all a matter of reading it and interpreting it. And we can see the intensity. Like, this is not the 1980s. This is not the however we thought those were intense. They were not. These are intense times. And that's why I love astrology, and I love to use it as a way for my own conscious spiritual growth. So it was written. And we also have a say, because we know that when our frequency, our collective awareness, how much we're willing to let in, imagine the aperture of a camera, how much light are we willing to let in? If we're willing to let in more light, then we'll make our next leap of evolution. That's the context I'm creating. You know, you make up your own context that makes sense to you. Let's presence the energies of this full moon. So it's in Leo, 24 degrees. Find out where Leo is in your chart, what house it is. And then Aquarius is its opposite. So we have heavy hitters in Aquarius. We've got Pluto, we've got the sun, and we've got Mercury. And Mercury is having this, what they call a Kazimi. He's in the heart of the sun. And in the heart of the sun, it functions like a reboot to your conscious awareness because Mercury is your mind. So something will come to you that you need to know that you didn't know before, or maybe that you shelved because it wasn't the right time, or you couldn't deal with it, or you're freaking overwhelmed. It could be a part of you that needs to go forward with you that you cannot leave behind. Maybe your badass, powerful self, you cannot leave her behind, but you didn't want to upset the apple cart. You know, that's just one of a myriad of ways. And I like to contemplate this to see how these things fit into my life. So opposite on that 180-degree axis, we've got Leo. And Leo is not a collective energy. Leo is a personal energy. So we've got the collective and we've got the personal. Isn't that really auspicious, ironic, interesting that the sun is lighting up the moon saying, okay, there's all this collective shit that's out of your control, right? And then there's you. There's the sovereign you. There's you in your leadership. That's what Leo represents. So it's highlighting something that maybe you've got to let go of in order to step into that leadership, step into your sovereignty. It could be ways that you've given your power away. And they're subtle. I'm always finding subtle ways that I give my power away. It's insidious. And you know how it shows up? Self-doubt. Like, I don't know. I can't make a decision. I don't know. I'm second guessing myself. I should ask so-and-so. So-and-so tells me, okay, I do that thing. When someone gives you advice, if like, say you pay them, they're your coach and they give you advice, you are not to follow it blindly. I'm sorry, you're not. You are supposed to take it on and internalize it to see if it's true for you. I mean, the best coaches anyway are going to ask you questions and they're going to source the information from you. But let's say it's more mundane and it's about business. And then this is the way we do it. Okay, great. A lot of that could be really good. And you stepping into that is got to be from you. You got to own it. And that's what Leo will show you. It won't work if you don't own it. So apply that to whatever area and also apply that to this situation here. As someone in the United States, it's causing me to think about, what am I here for? What is my message? What do I stand for? What are my boundaries? Those are very Leo questions because it's really about my power. And we're seeing a lot, like on TikTok, people are saying, if ICE comes to your place and they don't have a search warrant, you do not have to open the door or let them in. But that's true. So we're really getting clear. And that's a Leonic expression, getting clear about our sovereignty, getting clear about our boundaries. Where do we draw the line, right? So I suspect that the conditions in this Pluto in Aquarius is going to really cause and create the necessary tensions for our individual leadership to rise. Wasn't that great? I could have said that so many different ways and so negatively, but I'm choosing to look at it in this way. You know, our president is a very Uranian president. He's got a conjunction, I believe, with Uranus and the sun. And so this is the moment, y'all. And this is a Uranian time for the United States in particular, for the world. And we're in our Pluto return. So we've got these heavy hitters that are influencing the massive change that's happening right now. The effects of which, let's just say it, nobody knows. Nobody knows the effects of. You could have an intention, and I'm hearing intentions, but no one knows the effects of this. These are things that we look in hindsight and we say, well, holy shit, I called that one. I did not call that one. I had no idea. I didn't see that coming. So we're going to have to resource from the inside. All right, there's a T-square. I pretty much already presenced that, but we've got some big energy of the sun and the moon. They're already opposite. And then we've got this square with Uranus in there. So that forms a fixed T-square because we have Aquarius, Leo, and Taurus, each of the signs of these big players. And they're like pulling a bow back, bing, ready to let that arrow go. And that arrow is going, and this Molly McCord brings this up, in the direction of Scorpio. And I thought that was interesting because that's the missing fixed sign. And what that tells me is that we got to go to the depths. What is Scorpio about? Going to the depths, our inner transformation. Scorpio is not afraid of inner transformation. So if it's bringing up fear, if you have anxiety, if you are angry, all those things, let it be indicators to go in deeper. There's so much support for that kind of depth because we also have Mars retrograde in Cancer. That Mars retrograde in Cancer has been stirring things up. Now, my friend Sarita, who is like a class A astrologer, gave me a context on this that I want to share with you because I really, really like it. You know, Jupiter is in Gemini, now direct, thank the goddess. And it's not really Jupiter's main home. It's the opposite. Jupiter is home in Sagittarius, and now Jupiter is 180 degrees in Gemini. But Jupiter is going to go into Cancer in early June, and that's where Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So we're going to see more of the gifts unfold that we have been working and going to the depths inside of ourselves. We're going to see those gifts bear out as Jupiter moves into Cancer. And here's what she said, that Mars that's in Cancer right now is a huge agitation. Mars has been agitating since we had that Mars-Pluto opposition that's responsible for so much of this over the election and war. And that Mars is cleaning up an area of your life so that Jupiter can give the bounty. Now, that is a context I can get enrolled in, right? Whenever I know that my suffering is for a reason, then I'm like, okay, I did a really deep dive in my chart and I was like understanding certain squares as the reasons why this tension and contraction are happening. And it's supporting me in actually cleaning up more so that I can be ready for the expansion, because we know that contraction and expansion go together, just like birthing a child. And there's one more thing. I know what it is. It's the Sabian symbol. I thought this had to be read. So I looked at the Sabian symbol, and if you don't know from my prior videos, these symbols were channeled around the 1920s, a woman who later moved to San Diego, where I am. And she channeled for every sign and every degree point. That's a lot of channeling. So this 24 degrees Leo really does have a message for us. It says a large camel crossing a vast and forbidding desert. Okay, I love that it's a large camel. It's not a small camel. A vast and forbidding desert. Okay. So this symbol implies the need to push ahead in difficult times, going alone and coping even in the most difficult of circumstances. It also shows being self-sufficient or someone with a big journey to complete. That's huge. So you may find that your situation has been like an arduous journey, but there's still further to go. Be confident that you have the reserves. I love that. You have the reserves to survive and the endurance to succeed. Although you may like company and the assistance of others, in the end, you can really rely only on yourself. And I know we talk about, I don't want to be a lone wolf anymore, but there's a time and a place where you get to be self-sufficient and, like Leo, really know your own power. Self-sufficiency and mental self-control are necessary, as is a commitment to get to the other side of your issue. So I felt like that directly spoke to me, and I wanted to share that. Some of the touchstones are tests of karma, having to carry a heavy load over long distances, stamina, reserves. And then the opposite energy is not preparing properly, or running out of reserves, or feeling weighed down and in danger. Big plans with no backup, a mirage. I think that's also a really good word to the wise. You know, in my area, I go to the grocery store and we can only buy 1 carton of eggs because there is a bird flu that is literally decimating the chicken population. And it's also extended to other species. I just got an email saying that a bunch of tigers in a sanctuary died from this bird flu. So it's a call. And I think this Mercury Kazimi gets its information. Like, this is a Kazimi that Pluto was involved in, right? Like, Mercury already passed Pluto. The sun passed Pluto. Everybody's got Plutonian information. And now Mercury is ready to make it available to you. So listen deeply. What are you being called to do? Are you being called to live in an intentional community, to plant a garden? I don't know what it is, but listen. Listen. You will never regret listening to your inner guidance, your inner voice, and start to take action and see what unfolds. Let's focus on one more thing. Saturn moves into Aries. So Saturn's in Pisces and moves into Aries on May 24th. That's coming up really soon. It's going to retrograde back, and then it'll move into Aries starting somewhere in 2026. And then Neptune is going to move into Aries on March 30th, and that lasts until 2039. So Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011, which has really kicked off the new age. So all the spiritual stuff, Pisces, Neptune bringing that higher octave. Neptune is super at home in Pisces, working together to bring us psychedelics, to bring us channeling, to bring us spiritual awareness. I mean, pretty outstanding and amazing. So Neptune is moving signs, and this is why 2025 is so unstable and chaotic. Never have we had, Pluto change signs, then Saturn, then Neptune. Those are very big, slow-moving planets, and their reverberations are felt deeply. Uranus will also change signs, but not until 2026. And then we have the personal planets. They change signs quite a bit. So we are at the late stages of Neptune in Pisces. And Pisces is the signature of completion. One last completion cycle is this Neptune in Pisces. Tom Gregory talks about this as big world endings. So this is why I was saying, just to circle back to the beginning of this video where I said this is written. It doesn't make it easier, it just was written. And we can see that by this Neptune, big world endings, completing the last degrees of Pisces. It's also the void, right? It's that liminal space between spirit self and the incarnational self. This is the void. This is the Bardo. We are in the Bardo. And the resonance of your frequency will determine your next incarnation. Let's just say it like that. And let's say that for the collective. So it matters what our frequency is to determine our next incarnation from this Bardo. It's dismantling, it's messy, it's uncertain. And then Saturn there, also in Pisces, is bringing in the reality of what it is that's actually ending and changing. And we can see that on the world scene as government closures, money being blocked, people being fired or furloughed or retired in the United States through this chaotic move of government with no warning, just it happening with less than 1 month into this term. So it's messy. And this conjunction to the North Node, because we can't forget that the North Node in Pisces is in the late degrees of Pisces as well. There's a conjunction with the Neptune and the Pisces that we're really connecting to the next level dream, to what are we dreaming? Think about that liminal space in that Bardo space. Is your frequency clear? Is your mind clear to dream a new dream? I think about that in the death portal. Like, are you cognizant enough to dream a new dream? Otherwise, you hit the repeat and repeat button and you get freaked out and terrorized. This is in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And then you glom on to these ways of being that you've always known, like jealousy, anger, envy, those kinds of things, instead of catching yourself having a higher vibration and dreaming a new dream. This is the most important part of this transmission. I wish I could put this first, honestly, but it just came as all this stuff is preparing us for this. It's bigger than our one lifetime. It's bigger than your one lifetime. So that's why we circle back to remembering also that you're a priestess. You are a priestess that midwives the changing of an age. Yes, you could be a mom, you could be a career person, you could be a student. It doesn't matter what you call yourself in this dimensional space. You are a priestess. If you do transformational work, you're a priestess. If you hold space for others, you're a priestess. If you can see beyond this moment in time, you are a priestess. If you're calling forth something new that is life-giving and beneficial to all, you are a priestess. That is what you have been holding space for lifetimes. And this is that indicator of way beyond you, soul work, big, big, big soul work. So I think that's where we'll stop. It's big, it's big. So take that in, breathe that in. Make sure you take a sigh and release your neck and your head. And just know that if you're here, you're built for it. Let's rub our hands together, gathering all the positive energy that we have generated here, and just beam it out. May all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts.